This is Bonnie Calcagno, and I've been a gang stalking target since 2006. And the latest problem that I'm having is that when I go to access my website, Stop Gang Stalking Police, the number 2.com, this is what I get. I can't see my website. Now, I don't know if you can see my website, Stop Gang Stalking Police 2.com, but I know that I can't. Now, members of Congress are complaining that they've been surveilled by our intel agencies. Well, what's happening to ordinary citizens like myself, and let me give you a little bit of a background. I taught for 29 years at Marlboro Elementary School in Marlboro, New York. In other words, I was a third grade teacher. I lived in Newburgh, New York, and I was taking care of my brother who has Down syndrome, but he's on the lower end of Down syndrome. He's profoundly mentally handicapped. He has no self-care skills. So I was teaching and I was taking care of my brother. Right now, I am 76 years old, and my brother is 66 years old. So there's only a 10 years age difference. So I essentially have been taking care for about 40 years of my brother since our parents died in 1982. No self-care skills. I have to bathe him. I have to feed him. I have to dress him. He can't talk. That alone is a kind of a devastating burden for any human being to have to do that. Well, I've done it for 40 years. And then in 2006, I got a new fireman neighbor. And this neighbor was crazy. Narcissist, absolutely. Immature. I thought of him as a 10-year-old child. And he didn't like us as neighbors. He didn't like living next to my brother, who was a profoundly mentally handicapped person. And so what he did was he got us on some kind of a list. And I've been gang stalked since 2006 because of this fireman who decided that I had to get out of the neighborhood. And this is the best way to try to get somebody out of the neighborhood, because what it does, it gets a group of people in the neighborhood. And in the neighborhood where I lived, a bunch of firemen had moved up from New York City. This was like after 9/11, and they wanted to get out of the city. So by 2006, they saw my development. It was a new development, and that's, all right, let's try to get my computer back. All right, there we go. All right, now all kinds of strange things happen to my computer because I don't control it, they do. But anyway, so the story was I got targeted. And I've been gang stalked since 2006. That's 2 decades. Now, members of Congress they're concerned because they're being surveilled by our intelligence agencies. Well, if they were a government gang stalking target like me, they wouldn't just be surveilled. They would be unremittingly harassed. Our intelligence agencies get your neighbors to mob you, to unremittingly harass you. So when I go in the community, then it's citizen court, because Dick Cheney, who probably started this program, he was the head of surveillance under Bush Cheney. He got citizen court to harass you, to mob you. So every time I go into the community, I'm mobbed by people with red cars. The FBI calls this conspicuous surveillance. This has been going on. I have been surveilled, even in my own home. They have to do something called same-time exit entry. When I go pick up an Amazon package at my door, they have to have a gang stalker there. In order to do that, they have to know when you're going to go to your door, when you're going to exit your house. And they do that by surveilling your movements inside your own house. Now, what are they using and how are they doing it? I have an empty house on both sides of me. And most of my gang stalking, it was the mobbing, it was the unremitting harassment, it was the constant noise, etc. But then in 2024, March of 2024, I guess they decided it was safe enough to try to get rid of me. Because as I say, I'm 77, so I was 76 then. I mean, a person dies at 77, natural causes, you can do anything to a person at that point. And that's what they did. They started to do everything. And they started to do physical kinds of things. Now, I want to God bless News Nation, because that TV station, that news station, is the only one who recently have been showing what our country, what our different agencies have done throughout its history to ordinary people. And if you can reach my website, I can't, but if you go to my website and you look on the August page or you look on the current page, I have shown some of those News Nation videos, which are also on YouTube, to show you what the history, what the abuses, what the physical abuses, what the life-threatening abuses that our government, the different agencies in our government, mainly related to intel and the military, have done to physically harm ordinary people like me. Well, they haven't stopped. This isn't something about history. This is something that's going on right now. In other words, our government has a whole slew of new weapons. If you've seen the news stories about the Havana Syndrome, U.S. diplomats who were targeted with some kind of mysterious weapons, and they have symptoms like dizziness and tinnitus and nosebleeds, and their children have these symptoms. And the CIA said, it's all psychological. Don't believe any of this. They said that as long as they could. Even government health agencies, when they examine these people, they said, it doesn't seem to be anything. Maybe it's psychological suggestion. One of them says it, and then others of them say, no, because the University of Pennsylvania examined them, and they found differences in the white matter in the brain. They found differences that shown that these people have been under attack. And there's a professor right here in San Diego who says it's pulsed microwave energy that did it. So there's new neuroweapons today. Just like in the past, the United States has tested different radioactive weapons on citizens. Go to my website if you can reach it, because I can't. They're doing it again. They have neuroweapons, and you haven't heard of them. Most people haven't heard of them because it's under the state secrets doctrine. It's classified. I'm going to take a little drink. Sipping my coffee as I do this. So they have neuroweapons, and just as they have done in the past, just as News Nation has shown they have done in the past, they have to test these weapons. So how do they test them? Well, how about on gang stalking targets? How about on gang stalking targets like me? Do they test these weapons on all gang stalking targets? No, because they can do physical harm. But do they test these weapons on people like me, who have been a major exposure of this U.S. government gang stalking program? I have a YouTube channel. I have my website before they try to block it, so I can't see it. I don't know if you can see it anymore. So essentially the situation is, I am trying to expose what they do. I am trying to precipitate an investigation. I am saying to members of Congress, you're concerned about surveillance? Well, how about if for 20 years you were unremittingly harassed by what I call our American Stasi, because this is a percentage of our population that does this. This is police. This is firemen. This is ambulance drivers. This is EMS. This is security guards. This is citizens. I call them the Reds because they're using what the FBI calls conspicuous surveillance with their red cars and red trucks, and they wear red and they push red baby carriages. Conspicuous surveillance, mobbing. This is what's going on. This is what I have had to take for a percentage of my life because you, Congress, are not doing your oversight function because you, Congress, are ignoring it. You see, we have a problem here. And the problem is we have a state secrets doctrine, which has allowed the United States to abuse citizens throughout its history, which is allowing them to abuse citizens through government gang stalking today. And a lot of the BS that you see on YouTube, it's disinformation. In other words, they don't have a big program like this and not try to convince you that it's all bull. That just like when the CIA said about the Havana Syndrome diplomats, oh, it's psychological. This is suggestion. The CIA said that about our diplomats until the University of Pennsylvania showed that they had had physical harm, and Congress finally gave them restitution for the harm that they had suffered while employees of the United States government. We've got a problem here. Now, of course, most people don't know about this. Most people aren't government gang stalking targets. I am an elementary teacher who taught third grade for 29 years, who daily take care of a profoundly mentally handicapped person with no self-care skills. I have to feed him, I have to wipe him, I have to bathe him, I have to do everything. So imagine the stress of going through that, of being 77 years old, and also being targeted by your neighbors, being targeted by a percentage of Citizen Corps, the Reds, being targeted by the police who you need to help you, the firemen, ambulance drivers, EMS. Imagine the audacity of this outrageous, unbelievable program. And Congress is concerned because they're surveilled for how long? 20 years like me? No. Now, they not only do this, but when I add things, because I'm getting better and better and better, and News Nation is helping by publishing what our country has done in the past. Because you can't understand what they're doing now if you haven't seen what they've done in the past. Thank you, News Nation. I love that station. I'm an independent and they're independent. They don't suck up to Trump. And I got that guy elected because he said that he was going to end the weaponization of government. And what that narcissist did was end his weaponization of government. The American people still suffer government gang stalking. Now, why won't they expose this? Why won't our government say, Dick Cheney started this program, that Dick Cheney, who lied us into a war that cost the lives of tens of thousands of people, that started America torturing people. Dick Cheney started what I call the American Stasi, this government gang stalking program. And now they want to stop me from telling you about it. Okay, gotta get that page back. Let me just, all right. Okay, so let's forget about that because I can't, what I wanted to show you is I can't access my website. So you've seen that. Now you can find out what the temperature here is, Oceanside. I lived in Newburgh, New York. I thought to myself, if I move, I always wanted to live in California because of the weather. And so I said, if I move to California, will the gang stalking stop? I didn't know. How would I know? And so I came over here. And as I came over here, I was gang stalked in states on my way, states like Arizona, and New Mexico, and Oklahoma. So I knew that it was a national program when I got here, and they started to gang stalk me when I got here. Now, what I'm asking you to do is, I'm asking members of Congress who know they are surveilled by our intelligence agencies. They have seen the weaponization of government under Trump. Do you think that they don't, these agencies with a history of abusing, threatening the lives of our citizens, go to News Nation, ask the News Nation people to show you the video, or go on YouTube and look at News Nation video. This is the most recent ones of what our agencies like the Atomic Regulatory Agency have done to ordinary citizens. You know, they fed radioactive material to children, helpless, handicapped children in homes, to children that had no parents. I mean, if you look at what our government has done, it is sickening. And what they are doing is sickening. So what I want to tell you is I can't access my website that I use to help expose this horrific program, StopGangStalkingPlease2.com. I can't access it. I don't know if you can access it, but I do know I am harassed every day. They own my computer with the malware that they've put on my computer. They can stop all my communications. I have tinnitus, which is a symptom of the Havana syndrome targets got tinnitus. I had the same symptoms. I had a pressure in the back of my head before I got the tinnitus, just like the Havana syndrome targets. And now I'm kind of getting like tingly feelings in my body. And if I post, the latest thing I posted on my website was to show the symptoms of EMF radiation. And one of them is tingling feelings in your body. The houses on each side of me, when my harassment accelerated in March of 2024, became empty. Now I show you, one of the things I show you on my website is how the police of Stockton, California, bought the house next to the city manager of California to harass him. He wasn't giving them the contract they wanted, so they decided, the police of Stockton, California, and this was on YouTube, and I have this on my website, which I can't access, maybe you can. They bought the house to harass him with construction noises. Now that's one of the main things they use with me. This is one of the main things that they use with government gang stalking targets is construction noises to constantly harass you. So I have all this evidence on my website, StopGangStalkingPlease.com. I also have my YouTube channel, which I show police gang stalking, which I show firemen gang stalking. It is outrageous that Dick Cheney got our first responders to gang stalk. And you remember that little incident, I think it was in Idaho, where this guy shot firemen. I think it was 3 firemen. And people said, now why would he do that? Fireman, he shot our firemen. Well, he was a homeless guy. He lived in an RV, and I'm thinking maybe he was harassed. And I found and I use the Tor browser when I want to find information, because the government browsers, Microsoft browser, Google browser, you're not going to find things. But I use the Tor browser when I want to find things. And I found this lady who came from Idaho who was harassed, and she had an RV just like the guy that shot the fireman. And so I'm saying to myself, was he gang stalked? Is that why he shot them? Because what they do is they gaslight you. All right, there goes the thing again. I'll just restore it. They gaslight you. I mean, you're fighting the United States government when you try to expose this. And just like the CIA said of the Havana syndrome, people, oh, it's all in their head. It's psychological. For a long time they said that. Before the University of Pennsylvania Medical School proved it's not in their head. They've been damaged physically. And the government, the Congress, gave them restitution. All right, so don't believe the CIA. Don't believe Kash Patel. You know, I wanted Kash Patel. I wanted Trump to get in because Trump said he would end the weaponization of government. Kash Patel said, you know, he's going to go in there and he's going to give us our country back. He's going to give us our Bill of Rights back. And you know he hasn't. He's just Trump's lackey. He does what Trump wants. I mean, what's happening? I look at one person in America who I'm proud of, and that's Robert Kennedy, RFK Jr. He's the only person giving us real change. He's the only person ending the untruths that we were told during COVID. He represents us. And the guy isn't a Democrat anymore. He's not a Republican. He's really an independent. And that's what we need in America. We don't need the Republicans who care about the power of the Republican Party and who will never in 1,000 years tell you that police and firemen and ambulance drivers gang stalk. The Republicans are never going to tell you that. They're never going to tell you that a percentage of our population gang stalks. They're never going to tell you America has lost its way and we've got to fix it and we've got to reform it. And the Democrats, I haven't given up completely on the Democrats because they're just ideological. They just have their socialist agenda that they want to impose on America. I've just given up on them, change our culture. But I do see people like RFK Jr. I do wish someday somebody like that, who cares about the Bill of Rights, will be elected, who is nonpartisan, who doesn't care that the political party maintains power, but who cares about the rights of the individual. You know, in Britain, they're having kind of a meltdown because of the digital surveillance that their government is trying to impose. So people all over the world want their freedom back. They don't have a Bill of Rights, but that's what they want. They want their rights back. Now, we can't do this alone. In America, we need to ask for an investigation into government gang stalking. We need to look at News Nation rather than Fox and CNN and all these other networks that are lackeys for Trump and lackeys for the Democrat Party. We need to look at News Nation that is at least trying to be independent, that's trying to tell the truth. Now, we don't have Julian Assange anymore, and we don't have Edward Snowden. And there's a reason we don't have them. It's a reason that our government tried to crucify them, because they were the truth tellers. When you have the state secrets doctrine, if you don't have them, these programs go on forever. All right, so I'm going to tell you, I can't access my website, stopgangstalkingpolice2.com. I can't see it. And recently I added the consequences of the physical symptoms of EMF. I have tinnitus, which it started when they started physically attacking me. It started a year ago. Before then, it was the mobbing and it was the unremitting harassment, but it didn't get physical. Right now, it threatens my health. It threatens my well-being. It threatens my life. All right, I'm going to stop now. My website is stopgangstalkingpolice2.com. I have a YouTube channel, and I will continue until the day I die, trying to expose what's going on. In COINTELPRO, they broke into the FBI offices, and that's how they stole the documents which proved COINTELPRO existed. And then you had the Church Committee, a Senate investigation. Can't do that today in the digital age. And you've seen the CIA lie about the people who had the Havana syndrome. You know, when I tried to get a YouTube video of a person that had the Havana syndrome so that you could see them and hear what they had to say, and I put it in the August page of my website, and there are 3 lines at the top right part of my website, and if you click those 3 lines, you can get all the past more than 12 months of pages that I posted to try to expose this. But when I tried to find a example of a Havana syndrome victim to talk about this, I saw all these weird people on YouTube. Just like when I look at government gang stalking on YouTube, there's all these weird stories, and it's government disinformation. You know, what's going on in America? The height of it is now they're even attacking the president, they're attacking Congress, you know. But what they've done to citizens is so much more horrific. It's actually physically harming, beside the surveillance and the mobbing and the unremitting harassment. Just like the people in Britain, God bless the people in Britain, yelling and screaming about their surveillance. We in America have to demand an investigation into government gang stalking. I don't know how we're going to get it, because what they've got to expose is that a percentage of our population gang stalks are first responders, citizen corps. It's outrageous. This is Bonnie Calcagno ending this video.